How's it going, everyone? I'm Chetna Das and this is my mom Kalpana Das. Today I'm going to take you on a nostalgic trip to Sahibgunj, my mom's Manihari, that includes train ride, boat ride, toto ride. We'll see lots of greens in the laps of Mother Nature, some splash of water, bathe in holy Ganga, and stroll the street where my mom spent lots of summer vacation in her childhood. And yes, attend the wedding, which is the primary purpose of this visit. So fasten your seatbelt and come along with us. First, a little rewind on how I ended up in this trip. So it happened that I had come to my home. Thanks to hybrid workplace, now you can work from anywhere. It is the month of July and it's raining, the weather is really good. And this is when I learned about mom's plan to attend this wedding. And I thought, why not? We started with some shopping, basically food supplies to survive the trip. We took an early 6 a.m. ride the very next day. The total estimated time from Biratnagar to Sahibgunj was 6 hours. And we did the whole journey in 4 legs. The first was Biratnagar to Forwisganj in a taxi. Then from Forwisganj to Katihar Junction in a train. Then from Katihar Junction to Manihari in a taxi. And then the most exciting leg of the journey from Manihari port to Sahibganj on a ship. But whom are we kidding? The journey of course took longer than 6 hours due to hiccups and unforeseen circumstances. All good until Katihar Junction. We also got our ride for the Manihari port. It took us about an hour to reach from Katihar to Manihari port. The journey was good and green. Finally, we arrived at the port and were eagerly waiting to ride on the ship. And this is where we encountered the first hiccup. The port was closed since last couple of days for big ships and steamers, as the locals called it. The only option to cross the river was now these small boats that you see here. The next challenge was to find a boatman or the manji with a decent boat who could take us to the other side safely. And we were able to find one. He was taking a haircut at the local barber shop. Well, as you know, personal grooming or beauty is very important, even if you have lines of customers waiting for you for more than 30 minutes. Yes! And after some more wait, the manji was finally ready. Life jackets on the boat were broken, so we put it to use by sitting on them. The boat ride started with a shagun of throwing a 1 rupee coin into the river Ganga. I felt bad for polluting the river, but given there were no safety features on the boat and my mom didn't know how to swim, I needed all the luck I could gather. And trust me, I'm going to make up for this pollution later in the journey. My mom decided to sit on the deck to watch the view, but as heat grew, she went from no headgear to a scarf to even a handbag on the head. And we finally arrived, which was not the Sahibgunj port as we had expected, but somewhere nearby. We thanked our Maji and said goodbye to him, who turned out to be a really nice fellow. And then we took shade in this busy shelter while we waited for our relatives to come pick us, because there aren't actually many travel options from this place to our destination. And off we went to more and more green around us. After an hour-long drive, we finally reached home, Mom's Nani Ghar. I'm visiting this place for the first time. The wedding preparation is on its peak and is due for tomorrow. As it was one day before the wedding, there were some pre-wedding rituals lined up for the evening. We went for that as my mom relived her childhood memories in these streets. And of course, no ritual is complete without the pompous show of drums and dance. And Bollywood songs. Day 2, the day of the wedding. We decided to take this ride called Toto and roam around the town. So what if it was hot, there were too many people on the Toto and the road was bumpy. There was a smile on every faces. The first thing in the itinerary was taking bathe in the holy river of Ganga, but I chose not to. Rather, I took shelter in a small shop nearby. The reason why I opted out was somehow my way of making up for any pollution that I might have caused to the river. And then we visited some more places. The scenes were beautiful, but it was painful to see these hills being cut down and burned down for rich stones and minerals it carried. In our next stop, Moti Jharna, a monkey suddenly snatched my chips packet and started munching on it. I just hope it doesn't upset its stomach. And then comes the D-Day, the evening of the wedding day. We participated in the Barati, which was a huge show of light, music and dance. And as you could guess with the crowd, we stalled the whole traffic in the local area while they waited patiently for us to pass. So what if it was hot and everyone were too sweaty? We still danced our hearts out. This was followed by some photo session with the bride and groom. In the wedding, I got to meet one of my relatives who is famous as local Shah Rukh Khan of the place. And then I checked into a nearby hotel for the night. The property seemed modest and old because the ceiling was at a long height. The staff was very cordial and they went out of their way to get me some apples from the market, which really was not in their job description. Next day morning was the time to say goodbye. This trip was a much needed break for me. I met many of my relatives that I wouldn't have otherwise. Also, what I expected to be a rather simple trip turned out to be full of surprises and beauty. Goodbye everyone, until we meet again.